Hey everybody, just wanted to record a quick video on how to set up that flow to govern who does and does not come into Salesforce Marketing Cloud from the CRM. So first things first is I'm going to go into my audience builder, contact builder, and the first thing you want to look at is your configuration settings. So I'll go in here to data sources. I'll go to synchronized right here in the middle. You're going to hear a helicopter here in a second. Sitting at the park today, taking this video, getting some fresh air. But yeah, so anyway, come in here to my configuration settings. You'll see right here I have the contact object synchronized. So as we know, contact, lead, and users are going to be counted against your contact utilization. So say your contract gives you 500,000 contacts. That's going to be counted as contacts, leads, and users from the CRM. So over here, what we're looking at is my synchronization settings for the Marketing Cloud Connect as it relates to the contact object in Salesforce. So I've already got my connector set up. So when you come in, you'll want to take a look at, again, contact, lead, and user object. And over here on configure synchronization, you'll see right here, I have my record collection set to all records with sync to Marketing Cloud equals true. Now, a lot of times when we meet with customers, what we see is this section will say all records or all records with an email address. Just know that if you have all records synchronized, then it's going to bring over every single contact record in your CRM org. Maybe not the best practice because maybe you have some nuances. Another one that's kind of like a second best option next to this one is going to be all records with an email address. This just makes sure that everybody that comes into Marketing Cloud at least has an email address. Now, what we prefer and what we always suggest is this last option here, all records with sync to Marketing Cloud equals true. So one thing you'll notice, this blue dot, it won't be in that box. Or that bubble. So don't worry about it. But this field right here, sync to Marketing Cloud, is a custom field that I have built out in my CRM org. So let me toggle over to CRM really quickly and let's pull up one of my contacts. Here's my contact for Howie White. This is my dog. He is my Chief Executive Officer at EW Design Firm. If I go into details, you'll see that for Howie White, I have Sync to Marketing Cloud set to true. And if I wanted to check to see if Howie White is in Salesforce Marketing Cloud, I can actually come up here to the navigation bar in Chrome or Safari, whatever you use, copy that contact ID. It's going to be that 003 number. And then I can actually come over into Marketing Cloud and all contacts, click into all contacts here, and just paste that number into the all contacts. And you'll see that I have the contact information for Howie White. So that's great. And that contact is coming over because this checkbox is set to true. Now, how do we get that checkbox on here? Just remember, right now we're looking at the contact object. So let me come into setup here. Pull up my contact object under Object Manager. Under Quick Find, I'll type in contacts to pull up my contact object, or contact to pull up my contact object. Click into it here, and then I'll go to my fields. And you most likely won't have that Sync to Marketing Cloud set field already. So what you'll want to do is come in and create a custom field. And this is very important. So over here on the contact on the contact model and data sources, remember that configure synchronization we were just looking at here? Sync to Marketing Cloud equals true. Well, when you come into this box down here, the only fields that will show up in this little section are going to be checkbox fields. So don't try a formula field, don't try a text box, email, nothing. It has to be a checkbox. Just remember that. So over in Salesforce CRM, I'm going to come down here. I'm going to create a custom checkbox field. And it's very simple. Next, I'll click next, and then I'll just name it Sync to Marketing Cloud, right? And then you can put a description. So if this box is set to true or checked, the contact will flow into Marketing Cloud. Oops, maybe if I can type. And then you can put the same thing in there in the help text or whatever you want. But yeah, you'll click next and then continue to create that field. So one thing that's super important, I already have this field created. So let me name it something else. I'll name it to Sync to Marketing Cloud. So I'll go ahead and click next. Oh, it's not liking that, but that's okay. Let's do this. Sync to Marketing Clouds. We try everything in Marketing Cloud. As long as it will let us through, then we're good. There we go. So this is a very important screen here. what we're looking at is the field level security for profiles. So honestly, for most of these, it's good to have it set to visible or it's a read only for everybody. But you do want it to be set to visible to um, everybody except for the system admin. So basically what I'm trying to say is, apologize, I'm clicking all over the place. The system admin, you want them to be able to see and edit that field. So you can just click that to visible and then everyone else, they can read it. I don't like the way that it's doing this right now, but that's okay. Yeah, so we'll just set it to system admin, or you can set it to visible for everybody. But if you set it to visible for everybody, then they'll be able to go in and manually edit that field. So we really prefer having it set to read only and then deselecting it for the system admin. That way they can actually click the box. But yeah, I'm not actually going to finish this last process, or actually, let's see what the next screen says. Yeah, there we go. So this is just a summary of everything that we're doing, adding this now to the Lightning record page, which you of course want to do. I'm not going to actually create that field because I've already got one created. But yeah, so now if I come in here, then I'll see that field, sync to Marketing Cloud, set to true, or sorry, not set to true. But yeah, now we have that field, and now we can actually use that field in my record collection for Marketing Cloud Connect. So now you have that field. That's awesome. Now your users can go in and manually click and unclick that box if they want to, or like we prefer, you can come into Salesforce and create a flow to actually govern how that field is populated. So what I'll do is come down here and I'll show you a flow that I have built out. It's just called Sync to Marketing Cloud Automation. And this is a record triggered flow. It's probably the most difficult flow you'll ever see in your life. Awesome. So here's the most difficult flow you'll ever see. So yeah, basically I just have a record triggered flow on the contact object that just says on the contact object, whenever a record is created or updated, and the email, whenever contact is created or updated, then you can set your entry criteria conditions. So who is going to come into this flow? Anybody where we have their email and their first name. Those are my conditions. Now, a lot of times we'll see customers have another condition set, maybe something along the lines of, they might want to know a customer's first name, last name, email opt status. So I'll type in opt here, has opted out of email, whatever conditions you have. You can even have zip code or whatever it is. But whatever material that it is that you're going to need in Salesforce Marketing Cloud for segmentation or personalization, then you want to be sure that that field is coming over. And on top of that, you might say, hey, in Marketing Cloud or in Salesforce CRM, I don't need to send over everybody. This is the place where you're going to set the conditions for who does and does not come in. So meet with your team, determine what are the best conditions. And once you have those laid out, then you can fill that in this section right here. So again, I just have on the contact object, anytime a record is created or updated, and all these conditions are met. Now you can of course set custom logic to do some extra nuancing, but I just have all conditions are met. And then every time a record is updated, and then this is also very important, I have fast field updates turned on. So this will make sure that that field gets checked whenever the record is saved in the most quick way possible. Next up, I'll just drag over an update records element. So let's take a look at this update records element. This update records element just says update sync to Marketing Cloud field. Basically what we're doing is we're saying using the contact record that triggered the flow, I want to update that sync to Marketing Cloud field to true. So now what we're effectively doing is we're saying, hey, anytime we get a new contact in and we have their first name and we have their email address, then that checkbox will be set to true. And when that checkbox is set to true, then they will flow into Marketing Cloud. This is the best way to govern the contact count and your contact count utilization in Marketing Cloud when you use Marketing Cloud Connect. So let's test this out. Go into my contact object, create a new contact, and let's name this person John Smith. John Smithington. I probably already have a John Smith, but let's leave that email address blank and we'll put this person on the EW design firm as well. So we've got this customer. I'll go ahead and click save. And now if I look at my details, you can see that sync to Marketing Cloud field is set to false. And after that, we know that once we put in an email address, then this customer should flow over into Marketing Cloud. So now I'll name this person, or I'll give this person email hwhite@sf.com. right? And let's watch this sync to marketing cloud field. It's set to false right now. Go ahead and click save. Now it's set to true. Now that that checkbox is set to true, in about 15 minutes, because that's how I have my poll schedule. That's a very important field. This just means how often is Marketing Cloud going to check the CRM. So in about 15 minutes, that new record for John Smithington will flow into Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Now, kind of part two to this call, feel free if you feel comfortable jumping off, leaving the recording here. But now I want to talk a little bit about kind of part two to this, which is, of course, going to be what about people who at one point should be or were qualified to be in Marketing Cloud, but no longer are. So at one point, John Smithington should be in Marketing Cloud. But if I come in here and I remove his email address and click save, oh, whoops, that's not going to work. That's okay. But if I come in here to John Smithington and remove first name, remember my flow? It said that if I have their first name, if I have their, first name and email address, then that checkbox should be set to true. Well, I just removed John's first name and that sync to marketing cloud field is still set to true, but that should be set to false because I no longer have his first name. So what I'll actually do is come into my flow, and this might take a second, so just bear with me, but I'll create a decision element. I'm going to move this over to this side here. And over here, I'm going to go down, what am I trying to do? Trigger record, decision element. Let me configure my decision element. So I'll call this one sync to marketing cloud. Awesome. And then this resource is going to be, let's see, outcome of decision one. Oh, that's not what I want. I want to call this, pathing. Sync to MCE. And then the resource is going to be, let's see. If I have the first name, sorry about that. I had to get my bearings a little bit, but yeah. So what I'm going to do is create a decision element, go into my decision element and call it sync to marketing cloud pathing. And first one is we want to determine who should sync to marketing cloud. So what I've done is said sync to marketing cloud engagement, that's MCE. And let me rename this API so it's noticeable. But yeah, sync to marketing cloud. So I'm going to take the triggering contact's email. So this is the person that we're looking at, their email address and their, let's do contact first name. Again, this is where you're going to go in and put in your criteria, the same exact criteria that you have over in the update records element. We're using in the triggering. So we can say if their email and first name, so is null or is null. And I'm actually going to use logic to say if their email is null or their last name, or sorry, their first name is null, then I want to send them down the, oops, I'm going to rename this one. I'm going to use this as my unsync to MCE. And then, sorry, I'm a little bit all over the place, but unsync to marketing cloud engagement, unsync to marketing cloud engagement is my label and my API. So for this path, I'm going to say unsync to marketing cloud engagement. And then down that path, it's going to say, okay, so if someone's email address is null or their first name is null, then I want to send them down this path. So now whenever that record is created or updated, it's going to send them down this subsequent path. And on my default outcome, I'm actually going to call this one, oops, I need another path actually. I'm going to call this one sync to MCE. And then I'm going to say if I have contact first name and email address, So again, this is where you're going to be putting in your criteria. So I'll say is null, make sure that I have first name and an email address. So we'll say false on these. And for this one, we need both. So we need both first name and last name, or sorry, first name and email, whatever criteria that we decided on the flow. And then on the default outcome, we'll just say else. Awesome. So now what we've done is we built a flow that says, hey, let's grab all of our contacts. And actually, let's come in here and edit this a little bit. And I'll delete these two outcomes. None. So we'll grab all of our contacts. Anytime a contact is updated or edited, then we'll put them in a decision path to say, okay, if we have their first name, last name, or sorry, their first name and email, we want to sync them to Marketing Cloud. If we don't have both of those, we want to unsync that checkbox. And all of our other conditions, we just want to kick them out of the flow. So I'm going to put this element over here. So again, what we've done is said unsync to Marketing Cloud, sync to Marketing Cloud, or else. If nothing, we don't want to run that at all. So I'll go ahead and save that flow. And let's test it out. Activate it. Awesome. So now we've got this flow set up. And if I come back into John Smithington, if we remember, we took away John Smithington's name. So let's go ahead and hit save here. John will go through that flow again. And we don't have a first name for John, so that checkbox is set to false. Now, if I add John's name back in here, then John, that checkbox will be set to true. And again, just for record's sake, that checkbox is set to true. Now, if I delete this, say save, checkbox is set to false now. So awesome. That mechanism is working as we expect it to. Now, since very last part, I promise, since Marketing Cloud is a bit of a hoarder, we have to run a report every month or every quarter or every year, whatever we want, to determine customers that should no longer be in Marketing Cloud. So what I'll do is I'll create a new report. And you know how we built this flow to turn that checkbox on and off? Well, if someone's checkbox is set to false, then we don't want to send them into Marketing Cloud anymore. Now, the really wonderful thing about Salesforce CRM is that it's going to take that contact information from John. And if John unsubscribes, then it will hold that information in Marketing Cloud, or sorry, in Salesforce CRM. So if we send John an email, he unsubscribes, then in the future, he wants to come back into the Marketing Cloud, then that unsubscriber will stay in the CRM and also pass back into the Marketing Cloud. So that's a really awesome feature. But yeah, so let's look at this report. So we want to build a report to identify customers who should no longer be in Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And since Salesforce Marketing Cloud hoards all of our contacts, then we have to go in and manually delete them at regular intervals. So I'll come in and I'll build out a report really quickly. Get rid of a lot of these fields. Don't need a lot of these. So to start off, we need first name, last name, email, ID, contact ID, or lead ID, whatever record or whatever object you're working with. And then, of course, that sync to Marketing Cloud field, just to be sure. And then under filters, what we can do is go to show me all accounts. Trust me, that'll work. And then for the date range, let's say all time. And this is effectively a list of all of our customers who their sync to Marketing Cloud checkbox is set to false. Or sorry, all of our contacts. Now I need to create a filter for sync to Marketing Cloud set to false. Awesome. So now I have this report. What I can actually do is save and run it. And I think I already have one created. So let me find that really quickly. That's fine. Yeah, we'll just go through this together. But yeah, I can go save and run. And then I can call it contacts to remove from Marketing Cloud engagement. And I'll save it. Put a report description in there. That's always a best practice. And then now I can take this report, export it into a details only CSV file. And I'll go ahead and click export. Awesome. So now I have a report of all of the people who should not be in Marketing Cloud. That contact ID field is super important. So then now if I hop back over to Salesforce Marketing Cloud, I can go to my all contacts list, pull up all my contacts. And I can see over here that I have the delete icon turned on. If you don't, you'll have to go and turn that on. But yeah, I'll come into data extensions. I've already got one built out, so we'll use that. But I've got a data extension that says Salesforce CRM contacts to be deleted. And then under records, I can come over here. And also when you'll have to create a new data extension and you'll want to use those fields. And just know that you want it to be sendable and you want to use contact ID as a subscriber key. And I'll come here, go to import. And then I will choose a file. Choose that one I just created. Click next. And then I can map these accordingly. So contact ID, and then first name, last name, and email, of course. Go ahead and click next. And it takes a little bit, so I won't make us wait for this. But the file will import. You'll be able to take that file information and that data extension and actually, so like I said, this takes a little bit. Um, but what we'll be able to do is come back to all contacts, click on this trash icon, delete from data extension, and then we'll grab that data extension that we just populated. Salesforce CRM contacts to be deleted. Click delete contacts. And this is going to throw an error message up here because there are no actual contacts, but I'll click delete. And then it will take all of these customers from this report, check the contact ID, and remove them from Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Now your contact utilization is not only cleared, but it's set up for future. It's future proof. So now, as you go through and bring contacts in and out of the Marketing Cloud, you won't go over any utilization. Sorry for a long video. I hope this was useful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your account executive and get a one-on-one session set up with one of us. Thanks. Have a great day.